In a world built on fleeting comfort, what does a single woman build to create something truly lasting? She started with nothing but fire and earth, sacrificing the old to lay the foundation for the new. Watch her transform raw materials, bricks, cement, and simple bamboo into a modern, self-built home and resilient homestead. This is more than construction. It's a powerful display of skill, strength, and self-reliance. Join her on the inspiring journey from ashes to architecture. A basic wooden hut, roof and thatch, is consumed by fire. From the ashes of the old structure, a new project begins. The ground is cleared to prepare for a solid foundation. New materials arrive: red bricks, sand, and cement. Our first task is to lay a permanent, robust foundation. The initial circular stone structure, likely a pit for an earth oven, is reinforced with a brick border, ensuring stability. Then, we begin building corner pillars, essential anchor points for the main structure. Mortar, a mix of cement, sand, and water, is carefully prepared and applied to bind the bricks. The pillars rise in vertical layers, providing essential stability. More earth is added to the circular base and carefully packed down. Long, thick pieces of bamboo are cut and used to form a sturdy framework between the brick pillars. The bamboo is notched and secured horizontally to the pillars, forming the base frame. A dense bamboo lattice will serve as the subfloor structure, providing support and ventilation. Small bamboo slats are split and laid tightly over the frame. Preparing the bamboo requires precision for a smooth, even surface. The subfloor is fully covered with the split bamboo, creating a raised platform that is strong and level. A waterproof sheet is laid over the bamboo to protect it and keep the concrete in place. A perimeter form is built using wooden planks, defining the shape of the concrete slab. Steel rebar mesh is placed on the sheet, a vital step to add tensile strength to the concrete floor. Using a cement mixer speeds up the process, ensuring a large quantity of uniform concrete mix. The concrete is carefully poured over the rebar mesh and then spread evenly across the platform. Fresh water is essential for the mix and for cleaning. The concrete is leveled and smoothed. The top layer of concrete is leveled with a straight edge to create a perfectly flat slab. Once the concrete has set, the wooden forms are removed, revealing the finished, solid floor slab. With the floor finished, the wall construction begins. A masonry line is set to ensure a straight wall. The first course of bricks is laid directly onto the concrete slab, forming the base of the walls. Working carefully, each brick is bedded in mortar, maintaining a consistent, level surface. For corners and ends, half bricks ensure the staggered, interlocking pattern known as a running bond. The wall continues to rise, with each new layer following the level line to ensure plumb walls. Building around the window opening requires precise measurement and alignment. Wooden forms are set to create a temporary opening for the window lintel beam, which will support the bricks above the opening. The walls gain height rapidly, brick by brick, forming a durable, weatherproof structure. Using the trowel, mortar is carefully applied to create a full bed, eliminating air gaps. The use of guide strings is critical to keep the walls straight and true both horizontally and vertically. The top of the first floor walls is nearly complete. Scaffolding is erected to allow safe access for building the upper courses and the gable ends. Working from the top, the final courses of brick are laid, and the corners are perfectly leveled. The gable ends, which form the triangular section of the wall that supports the pitched roof, are started. A vertical pole acts as a plumb line, ensuring the peak of the gable is centered and straight. Working her way up, the bricks are cut and placed to form the slope of the roofline, creating a pyramid or pointed roof profile. The brickwork is structurally sound and ready for rendering. A coat of cement render is applied to the exterior, adding weather protection and a smooth finish. The render is smoothed using a trowel and straight edge to ensure an even and flat surface. Interior walls also receive a coat of render to prepare them for painting and use. Next, we'll finish the roof and the interior. Work continues on the cement render for the interior walls. A straight edge is used to level and smooth the wet mixture over the entire surface. The finishing process seals the brickwork, providing a foundation for a final Above the
interior
door
paint
frame,
coat.
a thin row of bricks is set into a fresh layer of mortar. The door opening is also rendered smooth, creating a clean finish before the frame installation. Above the door, a few more courses of bricks are added to complete the wall height. This upper section is also smoothed with mortar to match the finished wall texture.
The interior rendering job is hard work, requiring careful attention to every surface.
The exterior of the gable end is rendered on the top section from the scaffolding.
She carefully builds up the steps using bricks and mortar.
For the lower trench, two parallel brick walls are constructed. These may form a drain or planter. Soil is excavated from the center trench, which will be filled later, perhaps with concrete. Back near the porch, the final brickwork is being completed. The walls are leveled for the porch. The porch area is being leveled and shaped with brick edges. We'll see the completion of the outdoor area in the next part. Finishing the porch area, the exterior concrete edge is shaped and smooth, giving the slab a clean border. The lower trench, previously seen, is filled with concrete. This forms a solid, low-maintenance border around the elevated structure. Moving to the steps, red, textured patio tiles are laid over the concrete, creating a welcoming, slip-resistant surface. The tiles are set with a generous bed of mortar and tapped gently to ensure they are fully bonded. Tiling the next step continues, with the process repeated. Mortar, tile placement, and gentle setting tap. A grinder is used to cut tiles precisely to fit the edges. The remaining red tiles are cut and set to clad the step risers, completing the entrance stairs. The tiling is now complete, providing a beautiful, durable set of steps leading to the porch. Brickwork begins on the porch perimeter, creating a low wall structure. Underneath the raised concrete slab, the exposed brick pillars are smoothed and rendered for weather protection. The beams supporting the porch slab are also plastered with a thick layer of mortar and finished smoothly. A cloth float is used for the final smooth pass, ensuring a uniform, clean surface on the pillar. The beams are rendered to protect the underlying steel rebar and improve the aesthetic appeal. A wet mix is applied to the edges before being leveled, reinforcing the slab's border. Red, non-slip tiles are used for the porch floor, covering the large slab area for a clean, cohesive look. Next, a protective layer is added to the newly rendered porch edge, likely for future paint adhesion. This technique creates a durable, decorative, mosaic-like finish on the porch surface. The house is taking shape now, with a finished roof, steps, and porch. Additional brick columns are built to further define the porch and provide railing support. 24 to 29 to 200, 0 hours to minutes and 35 seconds. 400 the final columns are shaped and covered in cement, ready for the finishing details. Small, decorative cap blocks are placed on the newly built brick columns to create a finished look. The remaining porch columns receive the same treatment, rendering, leveling, and polishing. Using a level and marker, guidelines are drawn on the posts for the railing installation height. The porch pillars are now finished, providing sturdy support for the railing posts. Precast concrete railing posts are carefully installed and set into the porch wall and pillars. Using a welding torch, the horizontal metal railings are attached to the precast posts for safety. The strong railing system is welded together, providing both a safety barrier and a visual frame. Final inspection of the railing shows a secure and robust installation. Inside, the walls and ceiling are painted white, brightening the living space significantly. A mask is worn as the painting process begins, covering the bare cement render. Rollers are used for efficiency on the large surfaces, ensuring a smooth, even application. The first coat provides a solid base, a second coat will be applied later for maximum coverage and durability. The trim areas near the floor and windows are carefully cut in for a professional finish. The porch pillars and railing are painted a contrasting red, adding a decorative accent to the facade. The painting completes the exterior trim, providing great visual contrast with the textured stone walls. Using a drill and a hammer, the door frames are securely fastened into the finished wall openings. The house is now fully enclosed, painted, and protected from the elements. The interior. Work on the outdoor kitchen continues. The counters are clad with large, light gray marble look tiles. A marble look tile slab covers the sink, creating a continuous work surface when the sink is not in use. A drain is installed at the base of the sink, managing water flow. The area is sealed and waterproofed. The main cooking counter is tiled, creating a large, clean surface for food preparation. The recessed area under the counter is finished with bricks, forming a solid base for cabinets and storage. Next, construction begins on a service counter adjacent to the oven. The ground is cleared. Brickwork forms the base of the new counter, providing sturdy support and integrating into the oven structure. Cement mortar is mixed to a thin consistency and applied directly to the prepared slab. Large tiles are laid for the counter surface, carefully aligned and secured with mortar, matching the main prep area. The outdoor kitchen area is completed with the final tiling and the oven is rendered with cement. Attention turns to the roof. Metal crossbeams are welded between the pillars to form a robust support for the roofing sheets. Safety is paramount. Wearing protective eyewear. The metal is carefully welded. Red corrugated roofing sheets are lifted into place and screwed onto the metal frame, making the kitchen fully weatherproof. The sheets overlap securely, ensuring a leak-proof and durable covering for the new outdoor cooking area. The base of the main pillar is coated in red paint, matching the railing, for contrast and protection. The cabinets are set into the brick frame with a permanent seal, protecting supplies from weather and pests. Plumbing pipes are cut and connected with fittings, leading to the newly installed utility sink. A faucet is securely threaded onto the pipe, and the sink basin is filled with water to test the seal and drainage. Final functional touches include installing metal storage racks in the cabinets and adding a supply of dry firewood. Shelves and brackets are fitted inside the lower cabinets to organize dishes and tools, completing the functional kitchen unit. The wood-fired oven is lit for the first time, confirming the ventilation and testing the structure's high heat capacity. Attention shifts to the side yard. Earth is shoveled and raked to shape the land and clear space for the next phase of construction. New trenches are dug along the property line, creating space for the final perimeter walls. Mortar is mixed on site. Bricks are laid into the fresh foundation, beginning the construction of the solid boundary walls near the house. The initial courses of brick are laid to define the shape of the trench. The walls rise quickly. The main water pipeline is laid in the trench, carefully bedded in concrete for protection. Bricks are laid over the pipe trench, creating a solid, low boundary wall along the edge of the graded land. The parallel walls of the boundary are built up in courses, defining the property's final edge. Outside the main building, earth is removed to create another trench, likely for a secondary utility line. Brick and mortar are mixed for the final small structures and to continue the perimeter definition around the garden. A continuous pipe system is carefully installed in the trench, running water to the garden beds. The trench is backfilled with bricks, protecting the piping while maintaining the solid border. The last sections of the small perimeter wall are leveled and finished, securing the edge of the property. The newly finished and graded area is compacted using a shovel, preparing it for the final driveway paving. Cement and aggregate are mixed to a stiff consistency and delivered by wheelbarrow to the final pouring site. The wet concrete is roughly spread and leveled with a rake across the graded area to begin forming the drive. A long, straight edge is used to screed the surface, ensuring a perfect slope and uniformity across the wide pad. A final trowel pass smooths the surface of the newly laid concrete driveway. Next, we install the final gate. Starting on the new bridge, we first prepare the bamboo formwork.
Bamboo is a traditional, flexible, and local material.
Next, the steel reinforcement is cut and prepared. She then secures the rebar grid, which will strengthen the arch. Using wire, she meticulously ties down the steel frame. Properly secured rebar ensures the concrete cures uniformly. Now, the concrete is shoveled onto the formwork. This mix will be carefully spread and shaped to form the bridge.
She uses a trowel to flatten and smooth the concrete surface.
Once the concrete has cured, the bamboo support is removed. The arch is now self-supporting, a beautiful piece of engineering. Working under the arch, she applies cement plaster to the sides. The small retaining walls on either side are also smoothed.
The finished archway is strong, practical, and aesthetically pleasing.
This ensures a perfectly flat and even walkway for the final topping. Now for a decorative touch, embedding small stones. These stones, carefully arranged, add a rustic, natural mosaic. These bricks form a neat boundary for the paved walkway. Next, she's back on the ground, preparing another small section. Again, a fabric layer is placed, followed by the steel reinforcement. A tight grid is essential for small, highly stressed pieces. Using a mold, she casts smaller, custom concrete tiles. The cement mix is poured over the grid and leveled with a trowel. These precast components will serve a specific purpose later. She uses bricks to define the boundaries of the casting mold. After leveling the cement, she smooths the surface for a clean finish. She also begins stacking bricks around an iron rod for a post. Back to the molds, she's now using a different technique. She is forming thin concrete slabs with brick accents built in. The texture is roughened for better adhesion later on. This is an efficient way to make decorative facade elements. Another set of unique slabs is created, ready for curing. These small pieces will contribute to the overall aesthetic design. She's constructing an outdoor table next to the wood-fired oven. A precast slab forms the top of this functional workspace. Next, decorative tile pieces are prepared for the tabletop sides.
She carefully presses and taps the tiles to set them in the mortar.
A second, smaller table is constructed nearby. The top slab is adhered with a layer of cement mortar. This one also gets a beautiful mosaic tile surface. Seashell and pebble tiles create a colorful, detailed finish. White paint is then added to the interior for a clean, contrasting look. The outdoor kitchen is wired with strip lighting installed just beneath the ceiling panels, providing bright light. The kitchen is immediately functional. Rice is rinsed at the sink before being set to cook over the open fire. Marinated pork ribs are prepared for grilling. They are placed in a wire basket and cooked directly over the coals until they are richly browned. The completed meal is served at the side table, with the final lights creating a cozy evening ambience. She lays the first rows of bricks into a fresh bed of mortar, setting the line for the garden. The brick border is built 1 course high, providing a clean edge and a barrier to hold in the planting soil. The mulch is then carefully set alight, a traditional method used to sterilize the soil and improve its fertility. The smoldering straw cools quickly. The dark, nutrient-rich soil is mixed and prepared for planting. Small vegetable seedlings are planted by hand in the newly enriched soil, creating a fresh source of food. The seedlings are planted in rows, and the soil is gently pressed around the bases to support the young plants. A watering can is used to hydrate the new plants and settle the soil in their final position. The entire garden area is designed with a central walkway to access the beds and for moving materials. More soil and leveling continues in the center path, ensuring a smooth, firm walkway between the gardens. The herringbone pattern brick path is laid directly on the soil base and leveled, filling in the space between the beds. 20 to 14 to 200, 0 hours to minutes and 20 to seconds, 800. This intricate pattern creates a visually appealing and incredibly strong surface, perfect for the garden walkway. The walkway is now fully paved with bricks, defining the entire garden space and connecting it to the main house. The final perimeter trenches are dug and lined with brick and mortar to complete the outer boundary wall. The last sections of the brick wall are laid by hand, ensuring that the entire property boundary is uniform. New columns are built to frame the entrance to the property. These will hold a large, decorative gate. The brick columns are topped with precast concrete caps for a formal, finished look. The final columns are finished with a layer of white and yellow paint, creating the bright accents for the gateway. The final elements of the metal gate are installed, including the decorative spear tips and the center latch. The entire gate is carefully painted to match the colors of the home, pulling the whole property together visually. The last of the metal railings for the long garden fence are installed and welded to the brick posts along the perimeter. The final ornamental archway is assembled on the ground by welding curved metal pieces into a solid frame. The ornamental arch is secured to the main entrance columns, adding a decorative touch to the new property boundary. The entire metal structure is welded with precision, reinforcing the arch's load-bearing capability. More decorative curved pieces are added to the upper section of the arch, creating a beautiful, flowing metal design. The arch is raised and carefully welded into place atop the entry pillars, completing the main gate framework. The final driveway slab is poured and leveled, blending seamlessly with the new gate structure and main road. The large concrete slab is meticulously leveled with a straight edge, smoothing out the surface before it fully cures. The curved edges of the driveway are also shaped and smoothed, creating a perfect transition to the soft landscape. A final coat of paint is applied to the metalwork for longevity, bringing the entire property